Sometimes I get a little print happy and end up printing pieces that don't work out as intended, or they maybe work, but not exactly how I wanted. I have different builds that don't necessarily go according to plan, and then I need to tear them apart. And sometimes I don't want to put them back together the way I initially had them because I decide I don't like it. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out cool ways to reuse those. I'm also learning more about 3D printing as I go and better ways to utilize a 3D printer to try to make things, work even better and easier for myself. So this is going to be a build here with based on a Gen 8 M4a1. I'm not sure exactly which gearbox, if I'm going to be able to put an upgraded one in here or not. I'm going to kind of just have to see what I have available once we get to that point. You can see I've already painted it out a little bit. There's still going to need to be some touch-up paint, but I've gotten several coats of paint on it. And I just wanted to go ahead and show it to you. So this stock was actually from a build I had done that didn't turn out. So I don't know. I mean, really, once I took it apart, I still couldn't figure out what I did wrong with the gearbox. But since I had that stock already, I thought, let me go ahead and reuse it, see if I can repurpose it and do something cool with it. And it had the hexagons. So I was trying to tie in the hexagon look up here. So this was actually a big, like, giant silencer suppressor type attachment, right, that I had printed out. And I didn't feel like it was getting the best use. So I wanted to go ahead and see if I could kind of repurpose it more like an actual handguard or barrel. And then we got a grip here. So we got a magwell grip there. That's just kind of standard. I was hoping to find one. So you've got this stippling right here, which is cool. I was hoping to find one that had a hex, but it didn't. But however, I don't think that looks bad together. So what I did was I found this piece, or I didn't find this piece. This was a combination of pieces that I put together on my computer with software so that I could put it together and actually use it with the actual connector type that we need for a Gen 8 M4a1. So that's a piece that's printed. And really what I did here was, I guess I kind of think of it more like it's not so much modeling and designing as I'm like hacking these files and building files on top of files to make an STL that works for me, because that's something I figured out how to do, and I cannot figure out how to use Blender. That's one of the popular modeling, 3D modeling programs out there that people say is so easy, but I think I'm pretty good at software stuff, and I don't think it's so easy. So anyway, I did this. So I made this piece, right? And I made it recessed essentially so this could recess into it, so it's definitely stable. And then we've got our connector here. However, sometimes these connectors have been really tight, so I made it a little larger, like 102% or 101%. And now it's slightly loose, unfortunately. So what I'll do is I'm either going to find a gearbox that I've already painted, because I know I've shown you in the past, sometimes I make the mistake of painting this part, and obviously that makes it really tight. So if I get some layers of paint on there, then I think we'll be fine. Otherwise, it'll go on here like this, and then I'll probably just do like a small grub screw here that just tacks into here. Actually, I'll probably do them on the sides since it splits in the middle. All right, so either way, that'll go on there nice, stay on there, and if it needs to have a little help with a screw, that's not a problem on this one, but going forward, I'll make sure to size those properly so these just twist right on and off, just like the factory barrels. So I really like kind of the futuristic look that this has. Obviously, you're going to have the rail up here. Not quite sure if we'll do a riser of some sort. I mean, kind of would look cool with that diagonal kind of slanted Kriss vector type riser on there. So we'll just have to wait and see what I decide. But I did like, since you've got your grip right here, so we don't need anything else. And then obviously you can grip the handguard right here too. So that's what we did there. Now back here, like I said, I had this already printed, this part of the stock, but I wanted it to work on them for A1 a little easier. I had a piece that had already been modified. I kind of had to tear it apart a little bit. But so this piece actually just goes right on to the stock receiver as well. So you can see that. Now this is one where, there's a little bit of paint on it, but actually I didn't want to get paint back here, so I purposely taped that off because I don't want this to be any tighter. It's already really tight. This was one where I manually fabricated, and so people ask me that sometimes about like looking for STLs of things I've made. Well, a lot of the things I made are a combination of combining STLs on my computer, and then this is what I mean when I'm saying manual fabrication. I took that little piece out of a buffer tube that comes with an M4a1, and then I basically glued and molded it in here with a plastic welder, and that's how that stays on. Okay, I added these pieces here again to reflect some more of adding more hexagons in there, but also just adds stability to this. The way this stock worked is it wasn't intended for a buffer tube that has the little step down, like most buffer tubes. It's just intended for a straight cylinder buffer tube. And because of that, I'm basically just going to make it a permanent stock. So I do have a rivet nut in here, and it's held in place, but this also just adds some stability, and I think it looks cool. And then, of course, this piece goes on the back there. And again, I taped this off because I don't want this any tighter. This was already really tight. So that piece, that's where our battery is going to reside, obviously, and this is how you're going to change the battery. So that's a quick rundown. Again, it's kind of a cool way. I like finding out how to repurpose these prints that I've already made because, again, it was quite a bit of time to print some of these things, and they're definitely still cool. So I'm trying to incorporate a lot of the different pieces I have around already and make some new designs that I haven't shown you guys. So once I get it all put together and paint it up even nicer, like I said, still need to do some touch up. Not sure if I'm going to go with a black receiver or if I'm going to go ahead and paint it a different color. I think we're going to go with a painted one because, like I said, I want that to be tightened up. Otherwise, I may end up using some kind of plumber's tape in there as well, and just to kind of make sure that that's a really nice tight connection. So comments and questions, post them below. Of course, like, subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and participate in all the monthly giveaways. Thanks.